Hi everybody, it's Sarah, and it's Fabulous Friday. And today we are talking about anxiety and how to deal with anxiety in a way that we can overcome it. And one of the really important things I think to remember is that anxiety is our friend. And my therapist used to say this over and over and over again. And he used to drive me crazy because I didn't understand it. But what he meant was that it was just a communication tool. It was a communication tool to our minds, our souls, our bodies, that there was a situation that needed addressing, that there was a dimension of our life that needed some sort of attention, that there was a concern or potential for something to go wrong, and it needed our focus. That was all anxiety was. And he's right. That's all anxiety is in a very healthy, natural capacity. And we don't want to run from it. We don't want to hide from it. We don't want to spend our whole life avoiding it because it's a very healthy, natural part of being human. It's like our radar response system. It's, something that keeps us protected. And unfortunately, some of us have developed those exaggerated, unfocused, sort of misdirected communication responses that cause us that anxiety. And things like weight gain start to cause anxiety even though there's nothing dangerous about it. So when you start finding that your mind's running away, and you do start finding yourself catastrophizing and finding the worst possible outcome, it's important to take a step back and just ask, what is my body trying to tell me? What is my gut trying to tell me? What is my mind trying to tell me? And just take that message. And then once you evaluate the information and make a decision and implement that decision, then the anxiety should go away, because it's been addressed. And that's all anxiety is that warning sign that something's not right. And once you've made it right, it'll go away. And if it doesn't go away, it's probably because you didn't make the right issue right. And there's probably a different issue that's going on that needs your attention. But that's all it is. It's not something that's insurmountable. It's not something that has to be overwhelming. It's something that's very, very healthy and very protective, very natural, and just something that's not going to go away. But we can manage our responses to it. And that's, as a very personal experience. A lot of people have different ways of managing responses. And there's a lot of skills and things like DBT and CBT and that kind of thing that can help you out. I encourage you to look them up. But one of the things that I found most helpful to me is the concept of self-care. And the thing about self-care is that there's sort of two facets to it. There's the basic self-care, the food, the water, the shelter, safety, security, emotional support, that kind of thing. The stuff that you absolutely need to live. And then, and those needs are not negotiable. They're not supplementary. They have to be satisfied or you're chipping at the core of who you are. And it took me like 10 years to learn this, but hopefully it doesn't take you as long. Every time you compromise those self-care needs, you compromise who you are. And we don't want to be doing that. In order to deal with anxiety effectively, we have to be taking care of ourselves. The second facet to self-care is something that we call self-nurturing. And that is just like money in the bank. It's kind of like an emotional reservoir of good feelings, of good thoughts, of, really nurturing things for yourself that just builds you up, that you can tap into at times of crisis or at low points or depression or whatever. Just something that's there, that you don't need to make use of until you need it. And it's just like, it's like a bank account, you know, it sits there until you need it, and then you go get it when you need it. So there's also the part where the more that you self-soothe and practice things like putting lotion on, or listening to music, or buying flowers, or, you know, those little things for yourself that you can do because you're wonderful, you're special, and you deserve it. Whenever you do those things, you get better at them. And if you can get good at them, and very, very good at them, in times where you're calm and not so much in a crisis, it's going to be 100 times easier to do it while you're in a crisis. And that's kind of what I mean by money in the bank. You're in that sort of crisis situation, and you realize, you know what, I've done this before. I can take care of myself. Let me go see what I've done before that shows me I can take care of myself. So that's what I mean by it's kind of like an emotional bank account. So the more you fill it, the more you practice it, the better and more effective you get at it. And that self-soothing, you know, a lot of people consider it selfish, but it's not. It's, if you can take care of yourself and take care of your own anxiety, it means someone else doesn't have to. And when you can take care of yourself and your own anxiety so that someone else doesn't have to, that also means you have more to give to someone else who does need something. So it's probably one of the least selfish things, one of the most selfless things to do, is to take care of yourself. And then the last little bit is facing anxiety. Running away from anxiety, hiding from anxiety, avoiding it our whole lives, fearing it our whole lives, is not going to get us anywhere. And so you have to, you know, encounter situations that are anxious and anxiety-provoking, and you need to take that, deal with it, learn to deal with it, and deal with it with, you know, with the thought that you're a courageous, wonderful warrior as well, because it's not an easy thing to do, and you master the situation. So if you have an exam that you're really, really worried about, and you have the option to write it tomorrow, or you have the option to write it 3 weeks from now, I would go with tomorrow, because it's not going to get any easier. It's not going to get better if you avoid it. And in 3 weeks, you're still going to be in the same spot. And that is not very helpful. And why would you go through 3 weeks of that? Like, that's just, nobody deserves that. So, those are my things. 1, embrace anxiety, don't fear it, don't run from it. It's telling you something important. 2, self-care is integral. Self-nurturing is an emotional bank account that you can tap into when you need to. And 3, mastering anxiety will give you that sense of mastery. And it'll give you that wonderful sense of, I have confidence, I can do this, I have the clarity to go through this situation and survive it. And the more you do that, the easier it gets. So I don't know if that was helpful or not. I'm kind of pretty tired and going on a little bit. But I hope everyone had a good week, and I'll see you next week.